Oh, welcome, viewers. Hello, welcome to the Just Enough Trope News Hour. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika Hana.
We're here to bring you all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment every Sunday night on Twitch at 6 p.m. Central. Food for thought, drink for the soul. Let us pick up the tab. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not great.
No?
No.
What's going on?
A lot of pressure.
Yeah?
A lot of things going on.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, a lot of bad news.
Okay, great. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Not looking
really.
forward to
No.
it. Yeah. Okay. It's never good when we have a week where it seems like there's just a lot of bad news. You know?
Yeah.
It's just makes the news not as much fun to report on. So.
Or talk about.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Thanks for joining us.
We're glad you're here.
She doesn't do PR for us. Don't worry.
Hey,
about that.
stop
Not
it.
selling the news show very well.
Hey.
No, I've just been, I'm tired of complaining that I'm run down, and it's time to just be the opposite of run down, which is energized, supercharged.
Sure, right.
Crystal meth.
No.
Gosh, if they could only make crystal meth not harmful.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not in charge of the drug policy. She doesn't do PR. I don't do the drug policy. That's our deal here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know. I just, I'm tired, and I feel like a lot of other people feel. Don't worry, I'm not going to do I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
Right.
But I just, everything is something, and like all the news is bad. And I think somebody wiser than I has pointed out that, we just live at an age where people, they're going to die. There are
Yeah.
more famous people than ever. We're going to talk about, in our tweet, I had a picture of Edward R. Morrow, the famous newscaster. And, he was like one of 3 people that you knew on TV.
Sure.
4 with Lucille Ball,
Uh-huh.
5 with Lawrence Welk, maybe. And
Sure.
so when Lawrence Welk dies, oh, the house is coming down.
Oh my gosh.
Put the bubbles away forever.
Wow.
Right? But now it's just like, Aaron Carter died, last week.
Yeah.
That was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a celebrity for some people. For other people, really a celebrity.
Yeah.
And so we just have to sort of deal with that. And everybody who's dying all the time.
I know.
Here's an idea. Terrible idea.
Okay.
Podcast where we just read out RIPs.
I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. You know what it reminds
But
me of, though?
You could do a weekly show, possibly a daily show.
I know.
No problem.
I know.
Then talk about their lives, talk about them as a person. If there's a negative, like for instance, we won't be talking about the fact that Gallagher passed away, because I don't care about Gallagher.
Okay.
And he did his best to make himself uncareable about in the last couple of years of his life.
Did he? Okay. Not aware of that.
But we would not focus on that necessarily. Maybe we just wouldn't spend a lot of time on that person. But there would easily
Sure.
be 3 people a show, maybe even 5.
That's true.
And then sometimes if there's a really big one, it's just that person.
Mm-hmm.
Queen Elizabeth dies, for good or bad. That's her show.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And then what's the moratorium? Like, does it have to be like the day that they die, they're on that daily show, right? And if we miss that day, you're not on the show. So if the Queen puts, I already can't remember who else died on the day that the Queen died. I know somebody memorable did.
Yeah, right.
That person doesn't make the show. Sorry, that's an editorial decision.
Yeah,
And
right.
we don't go back.
Oh, no.
We don't go back
This
until
is
we have
bad.
a day where no one significant dies.
Oh, by the way, this person died the same day the
Do
Queen
we do a
Elizabeth
show
died.
on those days, or are those the days where we flash back to?
I think you do a flashback.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because you make a commitment to do a daily show. You
I
do
don't
a
love it.
daily show. I don't love it
any of these
either.
ideas.
No, it reminds me of one of my sisters. She's still like this, where she will find out that somebody died and she will try to scoop the entire family, and she'll be like, "Did you know that so and so died?" And like, she'll not necessarily have any connection to this celebrity whatsoever. She just wants to report and tell you that they passed away.
Is she looking for a job reporting the news?
I don't know.
I
Have
might
to
have
ask.
a chair
Yeah,
for her. A
right.
squeaky chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello to the viewers and the fans in the chat. We've got. Oh yes, you like my shirt? Yeah, I've got my Sailor Moon's Eyes shirt.
Nice.
It's one of those if you know you know shirts, right?
Yes.
So sometimes
I've got a
you'll-
Sailor Moon shirt on too. I don't know if they can see it,
Oh.
but
Well, not as cool as mine. But sometimes you'll you'll see somebody on the street, and they'll see your shirt, and they'll be like the eyes.
do the head nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome, and feel free to chime in on some of these news stories that we're going to talk about here. Computer's acting a little funny. We might be skipping a few frames here, so let us know if there's any egregious technical details, but we'll try to work with this while we do report the news of the week to you. To start off, we got some really bad news to report, but there's no way around it. The truth is what it is, and the fact is that we have lost Kevin Conroy,
Yeah.
the actor who played Batman for almost 30 years, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away just the other day, yesterday, or Friday, actually. And it's very sad. I believe it was cancer.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers has already confirmed and talked about this. People that he knows, literally everybody. I mean, who's going to come out after a guy dies and be like, oh, I'll tell you about this guy.
Nobody.
But literally everybody has nothing but nice things to say about him. He's done over 400 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, guest stars on the Superman show, the Justice League Unlimited,
Mm-hmm.
15 different DC films as that character. And of course, he's not limited to that in any way
Right.
in terms of what he's done in his life and his career. But that's pretty much what he's known for. The definitive voice of Batman for at least 2 generations, maybe 3.
Did he do any of the video games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought. I know. I mean, I honestly think of him as the voice of Batman, and this one hit me pretty hard. I was really sad to hear that he had passed away. I knew that he was sick. I'd known that for a little while, but
Well, he was,
but I was still really sad to hear it. Just because I don't know. I feel like just he really defines how Batman sounds, how you think Batman should sound, and I think he just did such a great job with the character and portraying the character. He's kind of the definitive, like you were saying, the definitive Batman. So,
yeah, I think one of the reasons that he is obviously having such a long tenure on the character is going to help anybody be definitive as the character. But it was like the layers and the emotionality that he brought to it, and the nuance in a role that he himself thought of as a dual role, the role of Bruce Wayne, the role of Batman, approaching them differently, vocally, and no shade on other people who have portrayed the character, and there have been some in the films and other video games, but somebody who didn't necessarily approach it as like, well, I've got to be Batman, and so I'm like this, and I'm only ever like this. He provided surprising vulnerability to the character, in his portrayal of him. And I remember we saw him talk at a convention once, and I remember him telling a story about a certain line reading that he did in Mask of the Phantasm, the feature film that he did for the character, and I always remember it being one of my favorite lines and readings that he had done, because there was such like heartbreak in this line that he gave, and there was such vulnerability that he was showing. And it was a time where he didn't have a mask on, but he had his Batman pants on. He didn't have a Batman shirt on. He was shirtless, but he had his pants on. He's talking to this woman who is like his paramour, but they're sort of like fighting over something. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, like, what does an actor who's doing a kid's cartoon have to do, to come up with a reading like that? And, I'd never met him. I had a couple chances to meet him, and now, of course, I regret not taking those chances. Mm-hmm. But I remember going into this talk with him and wondering what he was going to talk about, and thinking if I, did ever talk to him, I would ask him that question. And he started talking about, somebody asked him about his motivation, and something similar to how do you become the voice of Batman. And he started telling the story about how he was estranged from his father, and his father had been sick for a long time. And I don't want to make facts up, but I don't think their relationship was strong. Mm-hmm. And I think that his father, was into like, chemical abuse and things like that. Okay. So they had been distant for a while. But while he was acting in New York, and he graduated from Juilliard, and he was, on stage, he was going in to see his father as his father was kind of passing away. And he remembered trying to reach out to his father, who was barely conscious and, couldn't even really talk to him, and just feeling this feeling of separation and just wanting to just cross this boundary and be able to talk to him. And when he was approaching the scene that I was talking about, he put all that into that scene. He started talking about this scene specifically, and specifically having it come to an emotional climax in, that line and that line reading, and how he was transmitting that pain and that regret from his real life into that line. And so I was like, I was really blown away. And I was also like, good, I don't have to talk to him. Now I never have to talk to him.
Stop
he gave
it.
me the answer from the stage.
It's really moving story, and it almost makes me cry.
Mine or his?
And his story and your retelling of it.
And when you know his background, you know the fact that he, was gay.
Yes.
It adds so many layers to it, because there's so much more. And he wrote a wonderful short like story or kind of an autobiographical thing that then was then illustrated for a DC Pride. I think it was 50th anniversary
Yeah.
of Pride. They did a compilation, like comic compilation.
And it wasn't that long ago either, if I remember
The 50th
correctly.
anniversary of Pride. No, it was 5 years ago, right?
Okay.
And so and it was about his early days as an actor and about him being gay. And as far as his life, it was like an open secret, I think.
I think so
I don't think he was
too.
trying to keep it a secret, like his friends and his like loved ones knew,
Right.
but like the world didn't know, and
Sure.
he never talked about it. And when you read this thing, you'll know why, because he just comes from a generation where no matter what he wanted to be like, he just felt like he was not going to be accepted. And it's true
Right.
that he on stage and in his early career did play a couple gay characters, but I don't know if anybody ever made the connection of like, oh, this gay guy's playing a gay character.
Right.
They called cut, and he was like, I don't know about this character,
Oh
give me
my
some steak.
gosh.
He probably had to act and feel that way because he got a lot of like static from people who knew that he was gay. And there's one guy who was specifically like, I'm going to out you. I'm going to tell people.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. And so just thinking like the fact that he was pressured or felt the pressure to live that way and to not be, and then be Batman for 30 years, it's not his fault. And there's nothing that he could have or should have done differently. But if our world hadn't been like that,
Yeah.
and we had known for 30 years that Batman was gay,
I know.
just think how that would have changed so many people's lives.
Yeah.
You know what you said, and I've heard this a lot, like, when I just think about, I'm reading the comic, I think of Batman. It's Kevin Conroy.
It
They
is.
could also be thinking, I'm thinking like this great actor, this gay actor is playing Batman. I love this.
Right.
And just think of all the young people who also would have grown up and thought, Batman's gay, I can be gay.
Right. I know.
Well, put that grappling gun down. No. Don't take it that far.
But I think, him writing that piece for DC, I know it wasn't that long ago. I mean, like you said, it could have changed so many more people's lives, but maybe it will change people's lives moving forward. I hope it does. I feel like that's a gift, him sharing that with the world. Like, he didn't have to do that. We don't have to know people's personal lives. I mean, I think, like what you're saying, if you'd known that Batman was gay, how much would that have changed, people's lives? Because that can be really moving for a lot of people and encouraging and just like, well, if Batman's gay, it's okay for me to be gay, like you said. So, I mean, I wish it had happened sooner, but I think it's a gift that he put that out there at all.
Yeah, I'm glad that he was able to do that before he passed away.
Yeah.
New Batman.
New Batman?
Hey, let's not
Recast?
waste any time. Who takes up the
Lord.
cowl, the mantle? If you're the guy who's the voice of Nightwing, are you like, I'm ready for the phone to ring?
Yeah, I think so.
Not just.
Didn't one of the guys in Supernatural
No, Troy
play
Baker is a
Batman?
guy who's like, him and his leather bracelets. He's like, it's very sad. I'm waiting for that phone to ring.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't he do enough voice
Or
acting?
maybe Nolan North is like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Nolan North, who has done Superman, I believe, for some things, for video games.
Of course he has.
Yeah.
God, I don't know enough voice actors to know off the top of my head who would be a good pick, I'm trying to think of, well, the actor who played Ovid played Batman. That would be kind of silly.
In the spirit of wanting to be accepting, let's go. He can read.
I don't know. Yeah, he can read. Right. I'm trying to think of, like, didn't one of the Supernatural actors play Batman and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you are the voice actor of Nightwing or any of the Batman family, you think about it,
Yeah.
Is there a new Batman game coming out, or were you were saying something about was it Gothic Knights?
Yeah. Gotham Knights, the video
Gotham
game,
Knights.
was so bad it killed Batman.
Oh my God.
Kevin Conroy is like, Oh no, this game is so bad.
Oh my gosh.
And he's such a method actor that he's like, Batman's dead in this thing. I got a lot of calls to make.
God, no.
But anyway, we salute you, Kevin Conroy,
Yes.
and we'll never forget you.
I mean, just the best, you know? And like, it was really cool to hear him talk at that con. I'm really glad we got to see him. It was great.
Well, let's do a little news about the world in which Batman exists. That's the world of Marvel. Someday it'll be Marvel. It depends
Big
on if this
crossover.
next story doesn't pan out.
Uh-oh.
We're talking about Warner Brothers and DC, and James Gunn and his co-producer Peter Safran
Yeah.
are working on. They've got this plan. They've got this plan for DC Studios.
Uh-huh.
It's going to take about 8 to 10 years,
Of course it is.
and it's going to involve, building up to something.
like an end game.
Yeah. We need to talk about Kevin's plan.
I mean, do we need to do the exact same thing that Marvel was doing? What is that meme where like somebody is copying the other person's homework? Like DC's just copying Marvel's homework. Don't do that. Do something else.
Volcano, Dante's Peak,
Yeah,
Deep Impact, Armageddon,
but some of these came out around
Sabrina,
the same time.
and Homicidal. I just want to throw you for a loop.
Oh,
there.
okay, all right.
When'd Sabrina come out?
Which one?
This one.
The one in the 90s
one that
with
matters.
Melissa Joan Hart, or the one with
1954. All right, I think Homicidal came out. And when did Homicidal come out?
the movie Sabrina. I don't know. Great question. Nothing alike, but
That's why I said that.
I know you did.
1961. All right, so
Okay.
as far as competition goes, it's a little late. So in a recent town hall meeting, because you have to have town hall meetings for what these studios are going to do with their business,
Why?
they answered questions about how they want to get the best thinkers and the best writers in the industry and map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what this will look like going forward.
Sure.
And this is apparently they're in charge of all of it, right? In the same way that Kevin Feige, I think technically, if he wants to, can ask to look at the new issues of X-Men,
Sure.
but he doesn't, leave that to the editors in chief, I suppose.
Right.
But it'll be theater, animation, TV. All of these things are going to come through the machine of Safran and Gunn.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. I mean, I guess we're thinking continuity and everything, but
We're
my
thinking about
goodness.
telling an overarching story.
Yeah. Okay. So that means that the comics are going to go along with what's in the movies and the animation.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I wouldn't imagine that.
Okay.
But it does mean that, ironically, the DC films that have had no connection to any other films
Yes.
have been some of the most successful films.
That is correct.
Think about the Batman. We think about Aquaman. Think
Yep.
about Shazam.
Mhm.
These movies have been very successful,
Yeah.
especially considering that they aren't, bringing a bunch of other. Oh, Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman.
The first one, yeah. Right.
Bringing a bunch of characters together, like Justice League, like BVS. These movies were also successful, but it doesn't necessarily always IP plus IP equals double the IP.
Right.
But not underperforming. Whereas Aquaman made like $1 billion. So
Yeah.
I'd expect Slumberland to do just as much.
Oh my
business.
goodness. Oh my
So we'll see.
goodness.
No word on the fate of Batgirl.
Yeah. What is? Do you think that they would release that on HBO Max
No,
or
that's
release?
dead.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I read a story, and I didn't prepare it for this show, but apparently, they canceled that Scoob sequel.
Yeah.
But then they still tell the director to finish it because it wasn't done.
Okay.
They were in the final polishes of editing and
Okay.
stuff. And so they said, well, we're going to cancel it, but, finish it, will you?
Well, that's suspicious.
Yeah, if I was the director, I'd be like, no, you finish it.
Yeah. Right.
Screw you.
You canceled me. Why would I spend the time and the work to finish it? That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Fandom Casual says, when will you get the call? Presumably that we'll be asked to write or to help conceptualize the DC universe. We could be the right people for this.
You think so?
I'm a DC character fan, but not
Yeah.
a DC Comics fan, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense to me.
And so I'm not Jeff Johns. I'm not going to come in and try to find some obscure piece of continuity and then kill off a bunch of characters that you like and their wives and then make some new thing. Like, I know just enough that I could bring an outside idea, and most of my movie pitches are, reworked pitches from other movies unconsciously.
Yeah,
And
well,
so what if we did The Wrath of Khan, but it's the elongated man?
Sure.
Or something like that.
Right. No, exactly.
The Wrath of Long.
I'm a huge Hawk Girl fan from the Justice League series, so I probably would pitch a Hawk Girl movie.
Right off the bat, you go, look, Dave, can I call you Dave?
Uh-huh.
You're about the bottom line, right? You're a Republican, right? Hispanics, that's where it's at.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yes.
So what if we go out, and I know they just canceled the Hispanic Batgirl movie, but like, what if we go out and get a Hispanic actress
Yes.
to play Chica Halcon?
Yeah.
To play the Hawk Girl.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll build it around this thing, and then she'll have a white best friend. Oh, an inversion there, right? And we'll just play it that way.
Uh-huh.
By night, she's a Hawk Girl. By day, she's a sassy antiquities dealer.
Oh, okay. That's a little like Wonder Woman, but we can work with that.
That's right. I don't want to make her a cop, though. Sometimes Hawk Girl's a cop.
I don't want to make her a cop either. See, she could be an investigative reporter or
She
something.
could be an aspiring YouTube star, and she's like playing her Hawk themed songs.
An influencer.
But then she gets a chance to, no, I don't know.
Then she like Peter Parkers it and does all these aerial views while she's like out being a superhero.
Whoa, how do you get this great footage?
Yeah.
Drones, I guess.
Yeah,
drones?
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could work.
All right.
So
We've already got a vote in the chat for Wrath of Khan, but Batman. Wrath of Khan, but Batman. Ready?
yeah.
All
So who would his Khan be? I mean, does it have to be Joker, or could it be somebody
What
else?
do you think about Khan? Tell me what you think about Khan. Do you think that he is like a really great villain? Or, see, this is the problem. Star Trek doesn't have really a lot of really great villains.
I think he is a great villain because he has held this grudge for so long, and he's obsessed.
Okay, how about this? Do you know who the KG Beast is?
No, I don't. But I'm guessing he is a Batman villain.
There was this period in the 80s when Batman was trying to keep up with all the gritty other comics where Batman was like, doing a lot of like, that guy fell off the roof. Gravity killed that guy,
Yeah.
Or he'd be fighting somebody and a guy's going to shoot at him. And so he just turns it around and like, uses the thug he's fighting with as a human shield.
Yeah.
Arguably, you killed that guy, Batman. Well,
Yep.
KG Beast is like this roided out. He's basically like Captain America meets the Hulk for Mother Russia. So
okay,
he's like
KGB. So that's
right.
what I thought.
So he's like a proto-Bane type character, and he's like terrible. He's a murderer. He's not a good guy. He's not even a good like spy or operative. And Batman is fighting him in the sewers, and there's something else is going on. I don't remember what it is. KG Beast is like the side show to this.
Okay.
But he keeps trying to track down and kill Batman. And so Batman finally is fighting him like in this sewer, and he like knocks him down or knocks him out. And when he comes to, Batman's like, I don't have time to deal with you right now. So, you brought this on yourself. And he like closes his door and locks it and just leaves. And we don't go back. We never go back.
So
he just locks
KG Beast could be...
Beast. Yes. Now there is a story later on where KG Beast says, "Oh, I got out of there." But like, we don't know that.
How?
So maybe KG Beast comes back and he's like, 15 years ago, you left me in the sewers to die.
Okay,
But
I
now-
can see that.
All right, James Gunn, listen, you got to get this. Or like you just do Deathstroke, right? Everybody likes Deathstroke.
Yeah,
You've
that'd be
already
a
got-
good
if
one.
Joe Manganiello, if he wants to do it still, you just have him up against Pattinson, right?
Yeah.
So Manganiello is for some reason Deathstroke is older than Batman. I think he's already older than Batman, but now he'll be significantly older than Batman.
Sure.
So he's the experienced assassin. You've got the young year 2 Batman, still wearing the eye makeup,
Yes.
and gonna hunt each other through the streets of Gotham, through the urban jungle.
Okay.
Which is just Craven's Last Hunt.
But it's not Craven though,
Yeah.
so it's better.
How bad are they going to screw up Craven's Last Hunt?
They're gonna really screw it up.
Pretty bad.
It's gonna be a horrible movie. Because honestly, I don't really like Craven as a character. I don't think he's that very interesting or intriguing on his own. He's just a hunter guy, and
he's a hunter guy with voodoo drugs.
Yeah, that's sensitive.
It's not sensitive.
No.
It's not sensitive.
Why are we using this character?
Well, we were watching Kevin Conroy episodes. We'll be talking about Kevin Conroy and tributing him when we record our episode of Just Enough Trope for this week. But we were watching a Justice League episode, and in the vein of having, like, it was kind of a wacky comedy episode and having, like, you know, wacky characters show up. One of the characters was Buona Beast.
Was what?
Buona Beast.
Buona Beast? I did not catch that.
Guy with the helmet, leopard print tights,
yeah, okay.
jumping
I didn't
around.
Catch his name. Yeah.
He is a white guy who can Africa better than African people.
Yep. And he talks to animals, except he didn't actually have a conversation.
Not important. The point is that there is a black Buona Beast now. They have changed that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's better.
And he comes from the 40s or 50s. You know, I'm not sure he's even a DC character originally. He might be from another company, but
okay.
Yeah. So, you know, there's insensitivities still.
Of course.
Like Harley Quinn being a murderer, but a hero. Oh, not getting into that.
You know what?
What about Two-Face? The chat says
there's a lot of characters like that.
What about Two-Face? Is it time for well, we had the Christopher Nolan one, but he's only in it for a little bit at the end. Do we need a better cinematic Two-Face?
Possibly. What's his name? And Nolan, I think, did a really good job. Unlike, sorry, Tommy Lee Jones, I like you as an actor, but it was just a caricature.
He can't sanction your criticism of him.
Okay, well, whatever. So I think we could do maybe a more Two-Face focused Batman. We could do that. And I mean, he does blame Batman for what happens to him. So, I think that could definitely work. Yeah.
Who's to blame for the downturn in the economic fortunes of the entertainment industry? Disney is going to cut some jobs.
Oh, great.
Somebody leaked a memo directly from the CEO, and he has said that he is cutting jobs, going to cut the workforce. Also, they're going to not grow the workforce through hiring freezes. And they're also going to, let's Zoom instead of taking a jet out to wherever you want to go on this meeting.
Okay. I mean, the Zoom thing, I'm not so much worried about that because, I mean, I guess I can understand, cutting back on, like, in-person meetings. But, especially if you're flying to places. But cutting jobs and not hiring new people, I'm very concerned because you know what's going to happen. First of all, you're cutting jobs.
Who's making the churros?
Oh my God.
That's the real question.
Stop. They're going to have other people who have other jobs making the churros. Like Cinderella is going to be making the churros. The guy who makes the
Mickey Mouse head ice cream pops is also got to make the churros.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. So that's another thing that I'm worried about is like they're going to be.
You're going to have a girl in a Cinderella dress like.
That's what I was saying.
She's got to take Snow White dress on, new wig, come out and be like.
Right, exactly.
Those are my Disney Princess space works.
No, I think that's good.
Thank you.
I mean, they're going to have people doing other jobs that, like, they're going to be taking on more work and not getting paid for it, which is terrible.
We'll see. I don't know what their surplus of manpower or person power is like. Now, this follows, of course, the trend. They're one of the last major companies to announce something like this. Warner Brothers, HBO Max have both laid people off. Netflix laid hundreds of people off earlier in the year. Of course, Elon Musk has announced like half the staff of Twitter is being laid off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of bad news. The good news is, according to CEO Bob Chapek, that they will be profitable again by the end of 2024 if they follow these guidelines.
Oh, great. If we fire all these people, we'll be profitable again.
Now, the funny thing is, this is where we're at. And someday, I don't know, maybe as a feature, we don't have it prepared for this week, but next week, before the end of the year, we can talk about the futures of streaming because they seem bad.
Yeah.
Streaming everywhere seems to be more of a hassle and a over expenditure than a payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Famously, Netflix has not made much of a profit, or at least broke
Right.
even for a while, and then finally they are now in the red. There's the famous debacle of Operation Popcorn, Warner Brothers' big experiment putting their first run films out on HBO Max,
Right.
which was a failure, I guess, and it made a lot
I
of people in
enjoyed
the
it.
industry really mad. And it was great for us.
Yeah.
And like that's happening now to Disney as well. They've made obviously a huge investment in their original programming
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. I'm sure that Chapek said we're going to see some red on the sheet, but I think it's a lot more than they were expecting.
Yeah.
They lost about $1.5 billion on streaming. Now, lost just means
Whew.
expended, you know. So
Yeah.
we got to build hover cars for Andor or whatever it is. Like they've really invested heavily in some of these properties.
Yeah.
And as an audience, we take it for granted. And I don't mean that we're not appreciative. I don't mean that in the way that like we don't care. I just think that we are so inundated by, you know, high quality program, Stranger Things and your Enola Holmeses and your whatevers, that we just expect to get this stuff. So it didn't seem very weird for us when suddenly you could watch The Batman
Right.
on your TV before you
Mhm.
saw it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that's not hasn't been profitable for anybody.
No.
So I would, first of all, we're going to see, we've already seen cancellations. We've already seen cut downs of orders. You're going to see less stuff on your TV, on your streaming services. Then for that reason, the streaming services are going to see less subscribers to the streaming services.
Mhm.
And I think ultimately we'll see less streaming services, right?
I mean, that might be
I
what
think we
happens
have
at the
gone
end.
over the top of the hill of streaming at this point.
Well, and I do think, like, as Netflix has shown, like, they're probably one of the first companies to do, like, a significant amount of streaming, and then they hit their subscriber cap, you know? And I think it, you know, you make it available all over the world. It's available in a lot of different countries. I think in all the different continents, you know, and like, I mean, I don't think it's available everywhere, but you hit a wall because there's not going to be more people who want to subscribe to your service after a while, you know, no matter how much content you have. And there's going to be some people who just aren't interested in it at all because they don't watch TV or it's just not something that interests them.
What if billionaires didn't exist and the government just gave people money to make shows?
Yeah. You mean something similar to the BBC?
I guess.
Yeah.
But what if like money supported the arts instead of us putting our hopes for entertainment in the hands of corporations and computer algorithms that don't give a shit
I mean, I really like that
whether
idea.
something's good or not?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that idea of
I mean, all art has a
But-
patron,
right.
but what if that patron was the people?
And
An
we had to
endowment
say, yeah.
from a nation. Oh, we'll come back to that. Let's talk about somebody who is not working for Disney, so she's not going to lose her job, but she could have been. Anya Taylor-Joy has said recently that she rejected a Disney offer in order to be in The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
And about that decision, she said, I had a, quote, really good feeling about it.
Yeah, I think she probably made the right choice.
It's her breakout role.
Yeah. It's an amazing film, I think. Like, if you haven't seen The Vivitch, I highly recommend it. And she did an amazing job in it, and I think her acting skills really shone in that.
I should say that the Disney job she turned down was a Disney Channel pilot.
Right. So who even knows if that went to series?
She did not, I believe.
I don't think she specified.
She has not specified.
Yeah, right.
But I'm just scanning the article here.
Yeah.
But no, she has not specified. So did she miss out on The Descendants too? I don't know. Like, we don't know
We'll never know.
the answer to this.
Yeah, right.
Alternate universe, right?
Sure.
She doesn't, because first of all, look at this. Was that a good decision? Sure. The Witch
I
has.
think so.
Yeah, but The Witch led to. Thoroughbreds didn't do much. X-Men, New Mutants. I think everybody involved would have preferred to have not been in that at all whatsoever.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
She didn't even know she'd be working for Disney. I mean, she's going to be in the Mad Max prequel. That's probably the biggest movie she's ever done, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, she was in the Norseman.
Emma, nothing.
Emma, nothing.
Yeah. So like, she could be a lot. She could have a recording contract. She could be like Miley Cyrus. Actually, like a Miley Cyrus stacked on top of a Miley Cyrus. She's pretty tall, is what I'm talking.
Yeah, I do feel like, though, people who go through the Disney machine have a lot of, like, mental health and drug issues a lot of the time.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I think it's stressful. I think they're too hard on those kids.
Never heard about that.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. And in this alternate universe, would you think that she's too thin? That's what I need to know.
I don't know. I saw a picture of her recently, and she just looked really...
Latexy?
Really thin. And I don't know if it was like
really S&M-y?
Yeah, I don't know if it was like photoshopped or what, but like I've never seen her so thin, and she's a thin person, so it's kind of worrisome. I don't know.
I mean, if anything, TV was really her biggest success in Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit was huge,
yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who would love to see a season 2. I don't know exactly what they would do for season 2. They'd have to kind of revisit like how they want to build up the story for the character, I think. But I think that would be very successful. I'd love to see season 2.
Well, talking about successful TV, let's talk about the fact that Studio Ghibli has teamed up with Disney to make a Star Wars Baby Yoda animated short.
Yes, I've heard about this. I at first was very upset, and then my sister sent me a link, and I saw an image of Grogu and the soot sprites from the Ghibli films, and I was like, oh my god, the cuteness, I cannot take it. And I was like, oh, they tricked me. They tricked me. They took two things that I love, they smushed them together, and I wasn't angry anymore, and that made me mad again.
What is this in service of? Because it's a 3-minute short. It's on Disney Plus. Is it like the meeting of the minds? Is this Spider-Man shaking hands with Superman? Is this just because Ghibli films are on Disney Plus, right? And so this is just adding them to the pantheon, uniting the universes,
connecting them.
Because all it is just 3 minutes.
Right. Probably
a minute of that is credits. It's Grogu and some suit sprites.
Yeah.
Music by the Mandalorian guy. So that's it. It's directed by, maybe you know the name. It's directed by Katsuya Kondo.
Oh, no, I don't know the name off the top of my head.
Animation director of Kiki's Delivery Service and Ponyo.
Nice. Okay. It could be, and I don't know if this is true or not, it could be a testing of the waters. Like, if we're making this business connection here, do we do more things like this and longer? A TV show, a TV movie.
Is that really how they run these billion-dollar companies?
I don't think how it is most of the time. But sometimes I feel like they're just putting it out there and see what you send back.
Because for every Monster Trucks, remember the film Monster Trucks?
Was that when they were alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest failures of the 21st century so far. An idea that the producer's 6-year-old son had. Really? Huh.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah. He fired his son after that.
Oh my God. No more allowance for you.
That's the thing where you go, what do you think? People go, oh, no. But usually it's like, hey, what do you get? Hey, Spider-Man's going to team up with Mighty Mouse, and they're going to go and talk to Anya Taylor-Joy. And the fans are like, yeah. And they're like, they must love it.
Right.
Maybe like the little thumb isn't $1. Do you know what I mean? It's not like some multiple of dollars.
Yeah.
It's got 10 million likes. Yeah, because people's thumbs work. It doesn't mean it's going to translate to any.
Well, I don't think business. I agree with you. I don't think it's a direct translation by any means, but I don't know if that's what it is or not, but it could be. Is all I'm saying.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, that's a quote from a movie.
Yeah.
That probably was somebody's 6-year-old's idea. Dumb and Dumber, let's talk about a 6-year-old. His name's Timothée Chalamet, and the red carpet at the Milan opening of his cannibal movie, Bones and All, was shut down because of safety concerns.
Why? What
a
happened?
Large crowd of Shalimars, mobbed the space, and they had to shut the red carpet down.
Who is this? What is this group? I've never heard of them before.
Okay, I don't know what you heard, and I need to test whether I'm good at this news reading thing. So, who's they?
Shalimaras?
Timothée Chalamet. Chalamet heads. That doesn't play. So what do we call people who like Timothée Chalamet?
Oh my god.
We're both. I complained about being tired, but we're both really tired.
I guess we are both really tired.
Shalaminos.
That sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Who are they?
They're fans.
Just make fun of you.
Okay.
So anyway, this happened on Saturday. They had to shut down the entire area around this theater in Milan, the Space Cinema Odeon. And they did end up having the screening for all the people that got inside were fine.
Oh my gosh.
But basically, the cops just came out and said, all right, everybody go home.
You can't
You're
stay
have
here.
To jerk off at home.
Oh my gosh.
Over
Wow.
Timothée Chalamet. This is, of course, for Bones and All, his cannibal love story.
Which I have absolutely no desire to see. I like you, Timothée Chalamet. I think you're a good actor, but no thanks. That's all I have to say. So...
That Mika's pushing back from the table, saying, "Nope, salad only for me."
Yeah. If it was a cannibal apocalypse, I probably would die.
Although if it was a fruit salad and it was peach, then maybe.
Oh my gosh!
Call me by your name.
Oh
Only
my
you get
gosh.
these jokes, or you pretend to get them.
No, I get them.
And then it kind of would be. Cannibal. Let's talk about a different story, and it's another sad story. We let off with Kevin Conroy passing away, but DC fans in particular, the hits just keep on coming. In this case, they come in threes. Carlos Pacheco has passed away at the age of 60. He might not be a household name, but certainly for comic fans, he is an important name. He is an artist for both the X-Men and for the Justice League. He had suffered for a while from ALS, neurodegenerative disease, degenerative disease. And so he was a Spanish-born artist. Most of his work's from the 90s, but he's been around doing stuff still. I've got an example of his work up on the screen now. And nice guy as far as I knew, and a guy that did a lot of work on DC characters. Had just a really fun, open style. It's too bad.
That is too bad.
This is
it's
if
too
you
young.
were reporting this, you would say, "Oh, you just said it." That is not long enough of a run.
Yeah, you got it.
Instead of saying it's a pretty good run.
No, it's not a pretty good. Well, I don't know. Not long enough in my book. That's all I have to say.
And also passed away at the age of 69, Kevin O'Neill, who's a comic artist, probably best known for his work with Alan Moore on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series, has passed away.
Okay. I know his artworks then.
Very idiosyncratic style, kind of non-comic book.
Yeah, kind of more realistic bent, I feel like.
Real? I don't know.
Well,
but his use of hatching and sort of like exaggerated figure remind me, especially for the work that he did on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, of the sort of illustrations that you might see in illuminated books of the time. So, and then Dr. Jekyll said this,
right?
Like a plate of like him doing something. It's really sad. And somebody who is closer to than not, it's just like, take care of yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. I don't think anybody was thought they were gonna wake up and 2 comic greats would be gone. But then we didn't think that about Anybody else who's passed away recently?
No, I didn't think about Kevin Conroy either.
Yeah, or
even
George
though
Perez, or,
right.
Yeah.
There've been a lot of big hits with comics recently.
Yeah.
I feel like, in particular,
Yeah.
it's hard, and I wonder. Like, comics, I feel like, is a pretty demanding industry, and well, you have all these really tight deadlines and everything. So you don't think so?
Is it bad for your health?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, it's not like necessarily like animators in Japan, but
They should stop working with coal dust and asbestos, I guess.
oh my God, okay, fine. But it almost makes you, when you hear about all these people dying, it almost makes you wonder if it took
So
a
you're
toll.
saying that
I don't
the
know.
stress of creating and organizing that creation into something deliverable that you have to spend long hours into the night doing, pushing yourself to avoid sleep to complete creative works, which you then distribute to people, can be bad for your health.
Yeah, and it's bad for your health too.
Thank you for watching the last episode.
Stop it.
I've been advised by my doctor that we have to stop this. I think you're right. I think any creative thing can be very stressful. I mean, we've seen that. There's the trope of the artist who goes mad. I just have to make everybody understand. My podcast, but still though, like, these are white guys.
I know.
And I don't know how well they're doing, but I know their names. These
Yeah.
are, upper middle class white guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one thing if you have a neurodegenerative disease, but, why are you dying of heart attacks? Why are you dying in your 60s?
I know.
Take care of yourselves, people.
I agree. Take care of yourselves. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Self-care is important.
Yeah. And of course, with my Western bias, Fandom Casual points out in the chat about the world of anime and manga, which
Well, yeah,
twice as bad.
Anime animators are under enormous pressure all
Berserk
the time.
Guy.
Yeah, I know.
Kentaro something.
I can't remember his name right now. I feel awful,
but he passed away, ironically, like one volume away from finishing Berserk, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And nobody over here, we don't know. I bet over there they don't say, but did he work himself to death?
It's possible.
Or could it be the accumulative effect of all the hard work that he's done over the years?
Well, and the fact that the Japanese have a term for, overwork and work, or who die from overwork.
Yeah.
And it's not even that they commit suicide.
That's a real smorgasbord.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Not kidding.
I mean, that's awful. It's a culturally. Why is this acceptable? You know what I mean? And I do think that, manga artists too, like Nako Takeuchi talked about how, she had a lot of deadlines and like, she was working so hard and stuff like that. I think that's one reason why she doesn't create manga anymore. She doesn't have to.
It was really tough.
She's getting... Yeah, I know.
I don't know why she's always taking off in a Ferrari, but...
She loves fast cars. She likes cars. She talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's Sailor Moon is so successful. She's still getting, like, money off of it. Why create something more? Why put yourself through that again?
But then, but nobody's, presumably you have control then, right? You are the creator.
I don't know. Great question.
I don't know how tough editors and publishers are. But if you're like, yes, I will make, for lack of a better title, Sailor Moon 2. But like, don't come knock on my door. You'll have it when you have it.
Well, I mean, that would be great.
And they would hate that, obviously, because they want to get it out monthly, weekly, whatever.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If the only person in the world that can make it, she is the bottleneck.
She is.
If they can catch her in her Ferrari, then they can have it, But if she only wants to make it on a certain schedule, then what are you going to do? Not publish Sailor Moon?
No.
For that money, I could get a printing press and do it myself, probably, and make even more money. So.
Right. Well, I know she has a really good relationship with her editor, so I don't think he was terrible or anything.
Yeah.
So
he's also 10, 15%.
Probably.
He's also rich.
Yeah.
And they call each other from their car phones, from their expensive cars. But when he calls her, he's probably like, you don't want to do Anything at all.
I've got some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would love it if she did more. So,
Me too.
yeah.
But in the meantime, hopefully she'll relax for both of us.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's all we're going to talk about for this week. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I want to let you know that we are always talking about the news every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, more or less. I think we got it today. Right here on twitch.tv/JustEnoughTrope. So if you subscribe to us, that's the best way to do it. That way you get notified. Also, if you follow us on Twitter at @JustEnoughTrope, all one word. And you know when we're ready to go. We're sitting here, smiles on our faces, unless we're sad because everybody's dead.
Oh my gosh.
But still getting over that. But anyway, yeah, that's where we'll be. If you do follow us, you'll also notice that every weekday at 12 p.m., I go live to play video games. The most decadent Western thing that you can imagine. If you want to see me do that and be decadent, it's called the Laser Lunch Hour. And for an hour during the day, and sometimes I eat, but often I don't because gross. I play video games and we talk about nerdy stuff. So hopefully you'll join us for that. And every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, I and often Meek and Hannah join my co-host Ella to talk about Star Trek. There's a lot of Star Trek episodes. So you want to talk about something that comes out all the time.
That's true.
Star Trek looks at Naoko Takeuchi's like, amateur. Amateur. Can you put out 52 shows a year? Sometimes probably 60 shows a year with the overlap.
Right.
Well, Star Trek does. And currently they're making Star Trek Prodigy, which is a Nickelodeon show featuring Star Trek characters. It's a pretty good show. We talk about episodes of that at 8 p.m. Thursday nights. So we hope you'll join us then. As always, you can join us here in the chat on Twitch, or you can tweet to us at the hashtag Discoverage, and we'll talk about Star Trek stuff. I think that is it for tonight. What's your benediction? What's your send-off for the people for this show?
What's my send-off? Go watch Batman the Animated Series and salute Kevin Conroy and all of his dedication to the character. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about it on this week's episode of Just Enough Trope. We watched a handful of different episodes, kind of from a spread of different shows.
Yes.
That are encapsulations of the range, I think, of Conroy in the role of Batman. I thought about watching like a live action thing, but I was like, what do we do? I guess we could have watched the Batgirl show, right?
He was on Batgirl, right? Yeah, I forgot about that.
Batman,
yeah,
didn't get a chance to do that. But anyway, join us to talk about that and the career of Kevin Conroy. And that is it. Thanks so much for being with us today. Thanks for joining us in the chat. We appreciate it. And that's it for us here at the JET News Desk. We'll see you next week, and we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Megan Hanna.
Keep the geek fires burning.